version we're going to compare coming up. 16 in the hand-tied version. I have two colors to show you today. This is the Root Beer Float Blonde that I'm wearing here. And then I also have a champagne with apple pie that I have not seen yet. We're going to do a live unboxing of that color. And then we're going to compare any variances that we see between the two. And I'll show you how to style it like I have this one. We're also going to compare against the regular Dalgona 16, which I have back here on the Mannequin E, and that is in the color Butterbeer Blonde. So we can also do a little comparison of the Butterbeer Blonde and the Root Beer Float Blonde. Now just remember that we're all very different. This wig is going to look different on everybody that wears it, including myself. So to set the expectation that when you get yours, it's not going to look exactly like it does here, but this is a really flattering cut with lots of layers around the face. I feel like this is probably one of those universally flattering styles. All right, so let's dig in. First of all, this Root Beer Float Blonde. I have seen some variants in this color from piece to piece. Some are warmer than others. This one happens to be a very light and ashy, cool tone. A dark ash blonde, even a sandy ash blonde. And then we have in there also some highlighting of a natural blonde and also an ash platinum. So this is definitely a cool tone. I have not seen a Root Beer Float Blonde that was warm in tone, but I have seen some that are warmer than others, just put it that way. But overall, this is a very cool tone, and the ratio of platinum highlights is really going to predict how light and bright it is. And this color comes with a medium brown root, and that medium brown root is more ash in tone, as you can see here. Now, a lot of you don't like a dark rooting, but I have to say that Belle Tress really does the most amazing rooting on the market, from my experience and in my opinion. Typically, they take some highlight right up to the root, so it's interspersed with that darker root so that it doesn't look so stark, and it transitions beautifully. So there's no abrupt transition from the root to the main body of the color. It blends and transitions just seamlessly. It's such a believable root. Now, never fear, there are some unrooted colors available on the Dalgona hand-tied. Again, all of that information is below the video in the on the link, the product link that I'll provide for you. So Dalgona has an 11 or a 10-inch to a 16-inch layers here. And they're slightly wavy. This features a really nice beach wave. We're going to get into the texture here in just a moment, but just running down the specs real quick. Overall, this is about a 16-inch style. This is about as long as I can go and feel comfortable. And the fact that the front pieces are so wearable, wispy light, they feather back into the style. I love Dalgona 16. It gives me the long hair that I crave sometimes without feeling overwhelming. And I really enjoy how they've taken the layering all the way around. So you'll see that same layering here right around 10, 11 inches carry through to the back. And then again, that choppy beach wave really accentuates that layering all the way around. So flattering. All I do is kind of rake it back and emphasize a little bit of a contour to bring out the beautiful texture and layering. Let's talk about the texture on this one. I feel like the beach wave, that choppy kind of beach wave, is similar to that of the original Dalgona 16. However, I feel like it has a more of a tapered, brushed out look compared to the original. So this is what I'm talking about. So if you take a look, and again, I just pick and fluff with my pinky fingers here, but you can see it has that brushed out texture. It's really been taken down. That gives it a wispy look. It has beautiful movement. It's not too heavy around the face. It seems to stay right where you put it. Now remember, the Dalgona is a part of the Cafe collection by Belle Tress. They're all heat friendly. So you can take a little heat to this with a hairdryer, a curling iron, or other heat appliance. to kind of tweak it and customize it to your liking. So let's go ahead and grab the original Dalgona 16. And I have this one in Butterbeer Blonde. So what you'll find is that all of the measurements are the same. Okay, so that the front measurements, all of the layering behind and around is the same. And I mean, it's almost probably imperceptible, some of the differences, and I'll find out right along with you, because when I edit it is really when I can see some of these differences. But it still has that choppy, kind of brushed out, tapered look all the way around. This is Butterbeer Blonde. Now, Butterbeer Blonde is a dark sandy blonde with some platinum highlighting, and then a darker, like a medium brown root. So I feel like it's warmer compared to the Root Beer Float Blonde, especially on these two pieces. And again, you can see some variances from piece to piece, but it's easy to see where they're very similar in their lightness and brightness, because they both share that intense platinum highlighting. But this sandy color here in the Butterbeer Blonde is a bit warmer compared to the very ash tone base color of the Root Beer Float Blonde. And then the rooting should be about the same. Although I feel like the Butterbeer Blonde, the rooting takes on a little bit of a pink sandy hue as opposed to a green brown hue. Like when I say green, I just mean ash. And pink typically indicates sandy, getting a little more closer to neutral. I think they do a great job on the rooting on this one as well. And I will do a side-by-side comparison of these just a little bit later in the video. And then we're gonna add in the new Dalgona 16 hand-tied piece that I have. We're gonna do an unboxing. So I saved the cap information for when we do the unboxing. So let's take a look. I'm really excited about this. So you kind of notice a theme with me, right? When I buy my own wigs, I buy them in colors that I am going to wear, right? I enjoy variety, and if somebody sends me something to review that is in a color that I don't typically wear, I am always, always happy to review it. But today we're going to take a look at the champagne with apple pie on the hand-tied version of Dalgona. This was in my mailbox yesterday. This was the original one that I received, and when I got it, I thought I have to have another one of these. As a matter of fact, I feel like I really want to start my collection of the Dalgona hand-tied to replace some of my regular Dalgonas. So we'll find out why coming up here. Wow. It's beautiful right out of the box. No question about it. It's irrefutable. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous wig style. Okay, so let's take a look at the cap now that we have it up and available. So there's that ear-to-ear lace. It wraps around the ear tab. The ear tabs are made of a tough polyurethane. There is a metal stay encased within that polyurethane. It's beautifully contoured, and again, wrapping around ear to ear. Now let's point out some of the coverage. So I do have some bio hair that sticks out just above the ear, kind of juts out into the temple a little, and I feel like this gives really nice coverage. However, an ear-to-ear lace front is going to be lost and ineffective against someone that has a lot of hair right at the ear tab, because a lace that covers hair doesn't look like lace. It just looks like biological hair sticking out. So to get the true illusion, you would either need to maybe shave or somehow get better coverage there at the ear tab. But this is really fantastic coverage. It's just that when I pull this back into an ear-to-ear kind of up and away style, my biological hair starts to show right about there. So I do have to pull a little bit down still. But that is a really wide lace front. Now taking a look at this then, and I've had this question before, so I went ahead and I measured it for everyone. From the tip of the lace front here, where it starts, all the way back through to the seam in the back is about 4.5 inches. Okay, that kind of gives you an idea. So it stops short of the hind crown here, but it does encompass most of the crown. And then from seam to seam on the monofilament top is about 4 inches. So 4.5 by 4 by whatever that measurement is around the ear, okay? So that is the measurements of this. I like it because I don't have to worry about styling to cover up a seam from the lace to the monofilament, which, you know, a lot of times they're pretty obvious. And this one has a really nice knotting here. It's very fine knots. And you see this kind of lightly colored strip right here. So what you're looking at there is, first of all, there's less knots in that area. They're fine knots, plus they're mostly comprised of that highlight color. So let's, while we're up here, take a look at the lace. So there's that temple to temple lace front. And on this color, Root Beer Float Blonde, they always take that highlight, at least on the pieces that I have, right up to that lace front. Now it's not a heavy banding. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love the effect, but if you're opposed, I think that you might want to maybe go with a different color. Now this champagne with apple pie, we have yet to see, you know, just how stark of a difference it is right there at the lace front. Okay, moving on then to these hand-tied panels. So these are stretch panels, stretchy for comfort. And then within that mesh material, you'll see these cluster knots there. And that's what gives you the beautiful coverage. So if you part the hair from the outside and you look through, you really shouldn't get an obvious look that it's a wig. You certainly aren't going to see any wefts because there are none. And there's no permatease on this style. Then you have, like I say, the polyurethane ear tabs, and then an extended sort of rose lace style nape, and then bra strap type adjusters. This is typical of Belle Tress. So let's talk about the fit. I recently reviewed the Caliente hand tied by Belle Tress, and I was surprised that the fit was a little bit more snug, a little bit more average compared to the regular compared to the regular Caliente. I had to still cinch it in a tad, which tells me it's perfectly average. Now I have noticed, and I have heard from many of you as well, that these hand-tied caps seem to stretch a little bit over time. They become a little more comfortable. So I have no way of measuring for a large circumference, but it seems to me that they will kind of customize to your own measurements. So I feel comfortable saying it's an average size cap suitable for 21.25, which is mine, through maybe 22 to 22.5. If you have any other questions about that, you might want to reach out to the retailer. Okay, so that's it. Inside of the cap there, I am going to remove the tags and then begin working on this for the application process. Okay, so typically I would apply it just as it is without shaking it or doing anything so that I could report on the fit. I will do that, but since I already have a piece in this style, I just talked to you a little bit about the fit. So we did cover that already. All right. So I'm just gonna shake it and rake it, baby. That's what I'm doing here. Now don't worry, there is some shedding on this, okay? And I don't want you to worry about it. Just because you get some loose fiber that's coming out initially doesn't mean your whole wig is gonna lose all of the fiber. I have never seen that happen, ever. There's enough fiber here to be able to withstand some shedding, even shedding that you might consider to be a lot. So when I'm raking my fingers through it, just any loose fiber is going to be sprung loose, And then I just take my hand and pull it out. And that should be it for the loose fibers. So that is very common and is not typically a problem. Okay, so I did notice that up front there was a weave type pattern here, and I'm gonna break that up just kind of with my hands right now. And usually on a full monofilament top, you can really break that up very easily once it's applied and you start working on your favorite part. Now I like parting mine a little left of center, as you see here. That's my favorite parting space. But on the monofilament top, you've got that 4-inch and even beyond, because the mouth of that part is really wide because of the ear-to-ear lace, but you'll have at least 4 to 4.5 inches in which to work your part, and you can just part it however you want. Okay, I think she's ready to apply, don't you? So I think it's ready to apply. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a very small adjustment so it doesn't roll around potentially. And we're going to work on this one. Okay, right out of the box, Dalgona, 16 hand tied. All right, so I'm just gonna continue to swirl and use the heat of my hand to create that contour, because you saw there really wasn't much contour there at the front. So it would be very easy for you to wear it down straight over the forehead if that's what you choose to do. I just like a little contour. That's what's most flattering to my face shape. You may have a different opinion on that, and that's okay. We just all like to do our thing. And that's the beauty of wigs. So even though the style is the same as somebody else, you're gonna wear it much differently. It would be interesting if everybody was wearing wigs, the same wig, and if I walked into a crowd and everybody was wearing the same wig in different colors and how they style it and stuff, could I really tell that it was the same wig? I don't know. Okay, here it is in champagne apple pie. I don't really think I have to do anything more. It seems to be cooperating very well with just the heat from my hands. But if you do get a stubborn one, you can certainly get a heat appliance after it to make it yours. My preferred method of heat is the hairdryer. Just very small pulses of heat from a hairdryer. As I like to say, the least effective amount. So I do a little bit, check it out, do a little bit more, check it out again, as if not to overdo it, overheat it. Okay. And when I look in the viewfinder here, it is quite grainy, so I can't really see detail. But this is it. So this is the Dalgona. Okay, based on the thickness and density. So the reason why I am discussing this is because when I did the Caliente hand-tied review, it became obvious to me in editing, and then when I remembered back, there is a lot more fiber on the hand-tied version than there is on the regular. I mean, it was a thick, much thicker density on the hand-tied. On this one, this Dalgona doesn't seem like there's any more density compared to the original Dalgona. So I know that you will all want to know that. Let's take a look at the champagne with apple pie. Now I must confess I have another Dalgona 16 hand tied coming. so what color was it? Oh, the bombshell. The bombshell. I thought, gosh, I want two really fantastic blondes for summer. The champagne with apple pie is always a very sunny, beautiful, soft, warm color. And then we have the bombshell, which is a little bit lighter and brighter. So the champagne is a mix of some natural blonde, some ash blonde, and I think there's a little bit of light gold blonde in there as well. On this particular application, it's very soft, light, neutral leaning warm. There's a lot of neutral color in this, but there's just enough warmth that if you're opposed to the warmth, then you might want to go with like a butterbeer blonde or the root beer float blonde that I just showed you. But I love champagne with apple pie. Love, love, love it. And the rooting is like a light, warm, golden brown. And it looks very spicy. It's not ash in tone like you can find with the root beer float, but it still blends very well. And I've seen a lot of variance in the rooting on this color. Some roots are warmer than others. But I just feel like I'm reaching in and just massaging my scalp. So when I'm doing this to my hair, I can imagine it's my own hair, because when I go in there, I'm not feeling wefts. I'm just feeling knots, which, you know, it feels like it's coming right out of my own scalp. And I love that. Plus the fact that around here in the spring and summer, we have a lot of windiness. I do like to enjoy outside activities. So if the wind blows, let it blow, baby. You can't look down into the wefts. Now, does it look exactly like natural hair? No, it doesn't. But with the hand-tied version, you're gonna look less like a wig than a wefted wig. That's the point here. And so to make a difference in your mind, which version you want to purchase, you have to consider all of that. I know that if you are more of an average or petite, that hand-tied version is going to fit you much better compared to the wefted version. If you don't enjoy the wefting, if it's a concern for you in windy conditions or whatnot, the hand-tied is going to look better. It's going to look more natural, period. Now, neither one has a lot of permatease, and they just let the fiber do all of the work. So there's no permatease here. And any lift and volume that you see is being done by that fiber. So you can just brush it up, pick and fluff it to get the height and volume that you want. And if you wanted just to keep it a little bit more lower profile, you could also do that. So there's just a lot of flexibility that you have with these styles. You know, it's about $200 more, the hand-tied version versus the original. And, you know, to me, because I don't wear the same exact wig every single day, I can rotate them around, it actually makes sense for me to go with the hand-tied version because I enjoy it more. And I don't have to worry about, you know, it lifting to see wefts. It's just a real carefree type of style for me. And it's definitely more comfortable because of my smaller circumference. If you have a large circumference, you might want to stick with the original.